My name is Isolde Fairchild. I'm 22 years old, and 2 weeks ago, I collapsed on a stage in front of nearly 3,000 people. It was supposed to be the day I delivered the valedictorian speech. Instead, a doctor told me I had a brain tumor. They said surgery couldn't wait. They tried to reach my parents. No one answered. 3 days later, I woke up to the sound of monitors beeping and IV lines taped to my arms. The first thing I saw wasn't my family standing at my bedside. It was a post on InstaLife, my sister's account. A photo of my entire family smiling in front of St. Stephen's Cathedral in Vienna. The caption read, "Family trip in Vienna, finally, no stress, no drama." I didn't comment. I didn't react. I didn't call. Not until my phone filled with 65 missed calls from my father, followed by a single text. "We need you. Answer immediately." That was the moment it clicked. They weren't calling because they were worried. They weren't calling because they missed me. They were calling because they needed something. Before I go any further, if you think this story is worth hearing, please like and subscribe, but only if you truly want to know how it ends. And if you're watching right now, leave a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is there. Now let me take you back 4 weeks earlier, to the moment everything quietly began to unravel. 4 weeks before graduation, I'm standing in the kitchen of my childhood home, watching my mother flip through a thick stack of wedding magazines. Not for me, of course. For Rowena. My older sister had just gotten engaged, and overnight, the entire house started running on her schedule. "Isolde, can you pick up the napkin samples from the printer tomorrow?" my mom asks without looking up. Rowena is busy with dress fittings. "I have finals, Mom." "You'll manage," she says. "You always do." That's the problem with being the reliable one. People don't ask if you can handle it. They just assume you will. I'd been handling things for 4 years, working 25 hours a week at Hearthstone Cafe, keeping a 4.0 GPA, and covering my own tuition with scholarships and tips. Meanwhile, Rowena's entire education had been paid for by our parents every single semester. No questions. No conditions. "Mom," I say carefully, keeping my voice light, "I wanted to talk to you about graduation. I still need something to wear for the ceremony. Maybe we could go shopping this weekend." She finally looks up, but only for a second. Her eyes drift right back to the magazines. "Sweetheart, you're so good at finding deals online. I'm sure you'll figure something out," she says. "I really need to focus on your sister's engagement party. It's in 2 weeks. But graduation is—" Her tone sharpens. "Your sister is bringing her fiancé's parents. Everything needs to be perfect." I nod. I always nod. Later that evening, I'm folding laundry in my old bedroom when I hear my mom's voice drifting down the hallway. She's on the phone with her friend Linda. "Oh, the graduation." "Yes, she's the valedictorian." A pause. A small laugh. "But honestly, the timing is terrible. Rowena's engagement party is that same week, and that has to come first. Isolde understands. She's always been so independent." Independent. That's the word they use when they really mean forgettable. That night, I call the only person who has ever asked how I'm actually doing. Grandpa Edmund picks up on the second ring. "Isolde," he says warmly, "I was just thinking about you." Something in my chest loosens. "Hey, Grandpa." "Tell me everything," he says. "How are finals? How's the speech coming along?" I sink onto my bed, phone pressed to my ear. For the next 20 minutes, I finally tell the truth. About my thesis, about the speech I've rewritten 6 times, about how terrified I am of standing in front. When I finish, he's quiet, the kind of quiet that means he doesn't believe me when I say I'm fine. "Do you have your dress yet?" he asks gently. "Your shoes? Do you need anything?" My throat tightens. "I'm okay, Grandpa. Really." Another pause. "Your grandmother would be so proud of you," he says at last. "You know that, right? She always said you had her spirit." I never met Grandma Beatrice. She died before I was born. But I've seen the photos. Everyone says I look just like her. The same dark hair, the same stubborn chin. "I'll be there," Grandpa continues. "Front row. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Thank you, I say, my voice cracking just a little. That means everything. And Isolde, he adds, I have something for you, a gift. Your grandmother wanted you to have it when you graduated. I've been holding on to it for years. Before I can ask what he means, my door flies open. Rowena doesn't knock. She never does. Isolde, did you use my dry shampoo? She snaps. I can't find it anywhere. I cover the phone. I don't use your stuff, Rowena. She rolls her eyes and flashes her engagement ring like it's a weapon. Whatever. Oh, and congratulations on the valedictorian thing, I guess. Then she's gone. Grandpa Edmund heard every word. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't have to. His silence says enough. 1 week before graduation, I'm surviving on 4 hours of sleep, 3 cups of coffee, and sheer stubbornness. Finals are over. My thesis is submitted. I'm pulling double shifts at Hearthstone Cafe because rent is due, and I refuse to ask my parents for help. They never give without keeping score. We helped you with rent that one time, remember? Mom calls while I'm wiping down tables after closing. Isolde, I need you home this weekend. The engagement party is Saturday, and I need help setting everything up. Mom, I'm working. Call in sick. Rowena needs you. I grip the phone until my knuckles turn white. What about what I need? Silence. Then she sighs. Isolde, don't be dramatic. It's just 1 weekend. Your sister only gets engaged once. I swallow the words rising in my throat, and I only graduate once. Valedictorian. 4 years of perfect grades while working myself into the ground. But I don't say any of that. I never do. Fine, I say. I'll be there. I hang up, and the familiar pressure behind my eyes spikes sharply. The room tilts. I grab the counter to steady myself. You okay? Lena, my coworker, asks, watching me closely. That night, I get a nosebleed that won't stop for nearly 15 minutes. I tell myself it's the dry air, that it's nothing. On the drive home, my phone buzzes. A text from Rowena. Don't forget to pick up the custom napkins. And wear something nice. Julian's parents will be there. No, how are you? No thanks for helping. Just instructions. My phone buzzes again. It's my dad this time. Isolde, can you pick up Aunt Carol from the airport on Friday? Your mom and I are tied up with Rowena's party prep. I pull over to the side of the road. My hands are shaking, and I can't tell if it's anger or something else entirely. That evening, Clara Whitmore shows up at my apartment without warning, holding a bag of Thai food and wearing a look that makes my stomach drop. You look like death, she says, pushing past me into the kitchen. Thanks, I mutter. Love you too. Clara has been my best friend since freshman orientation. She's the only person who's ever seen me cry over my family. She's also brutally honest, something I both appreciate and resent. Isolde, she says, setting the food down and turning to face me. When was the last time you actually slept? I sleep, she raises an eyebrow. Liar, she crosses her arms. I talked to Lena. She said you nearly passed out at work yesterday. I was just dizzy, I say quickly. Finals stress. It's family stress, Clara says, her voice softening. Isolde, you're destroying yourself for people who won't even show up to your graduation. They're coming, I say automatically. Are they? I open my mouth to argue, then close it, because the truth is, I don't know. Mom hasn't mentioned graduation in weeks. Dad keeps forgetting the date. Rowena doesn't even care that I'm the valedictorian. They'll come, I repeat weakly. It's my graduation. Clara sits down across from me. Babe, in 4 years, they haven't come to a single award ceremony, not one. She looks at me steadily. Remember when you won that teaching fellowship? Who was in the audience? I swallow. You, I say. And Grandpa. Exactly. She reaches across the table and takes my hand. Isolde, Clara says softly, you don't have to keep setting yourself on fire just to keep them warm. They're not even looking at the flame. My eyes burn. I blink hard, forcing the tears back. That night, after Clara leaves, I'm brushing my teeth when my vision suddenly doubles. I grip the edge of the sink. The headache is back, worse than before. I should see a doctor, I think, but there's no time. The engagement party is tomorrow. I swallow 2 more ibuprofen and crawl into bed. My phone lights up. A text from Clara. If anything happens, call your grandpa. He's the only one who actually cares. I don't reply. But I don't delete the message either. In Rowena's engagement party, I've been on my feet for 6 straight hours, setting up chairs, arranging flowers, refilling champagne flutes, playing the role I was born into, the invisible support system. The backyard looks flawless. White lights draped through the oak trees. A 3-tiered cake that costs more than my monthly rent. 40 guests in cocktail attire, laughing and raising glasses to my sister's future. No one asks about mine. Isolde, more champagne over here, my mom calls from across the lawn. I grab another bottle and weave through the crowd. My head is pounding, but I keep smiling. Near the fountain, Rowena is holding court, Julian's arm wrapped around her waist. She's 3 glasses of champagne in, glowing. Everyone, she announces, pulling me into the spotlight. This is my little sister. She squeezes my shoulder. Isolde does everything around here. Honestly, I don't know what we'd do without her. There's scattered applause, a few polite smiles. Then Rowena leans in, her voice carrying just far enough to be heard. She's really good at, helping, she says lightly. She's going to be a teacher. Can you imagine? Wiping noses for a living? Laughter follows, soft, dismissive. I keep smiling, my face aches. Oh, and she's graduating next week, Rowena adds, almost as an afterthought. Veil something? What's it called again? Valedictorian, I say quietly. Right, she waves her hand. She's always been the smart one. But smart doesn't buy Louis Vuitton, does it? More laughter. I excuse myself and slip into the kitchen, pressing my palms to the counter, forcing myself to breathe. Through the window, I notice an older man watching the scene. I recognize him. Charles Whitby, my grandfather's former colleague. His expression gives nothing away. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Your grandfather should know how your family treats you. I look up. Mr. Whitby lifts his glass slightly in my direction, then turns away. My hands are shaking. And this time, I don't think it's just humiliation. After the party, I'm alone in the kitchen, elbows deep in soapy water, washing dishes. Everyone else is crowded into the living room, laughing over engagement photos. My mom walks in, her cheeks flushed with wine and satisfaction. Isolde, I have wonderful news. I don't turn around. What is it? We're going to Vienna, she says brightly. The whole family. Julian's treating us to celebrate the engagement. My hands freeze in the sink. Vienna? When? Next Saturday. We fly out Friday night. Friday night. Graduation is Saturday morning. Slowly I turn around. Mom, I say carefully, my graduation is Saturday. She waves it off. I know, sweetie, but the flights were already booked once we realized Julian got such a good deal. So you're missing my graduation for a vacation. Don't say it like that, my mom frowns. It's not just a vacation, it's for your sister. I'm the valedictorian, Mom, I say. I have to give a speech. And you'll be wonderful, she replies quickly. You don't need us there, Isolde. You've always been so self-sufficient. I stare at her, waiting, for her to hear herself, for something to click. Nothing does. As if summoned, my father appears in the doorway. He won't meet my eyes. Isolde, your mother and I talked about this, he says. Rowena needs family support right now. She's going through a major life change. And graduating valedictorian isn't? I don't say it out loud. You're strong, he continues, his voice tired. You don't need us the way your sister does. The room tilts. I grab the counter. Isolde. My mom's voice sounds distant. You look pale. I'm fine. I'm not. My vision is blurring at the edges now. The headache is screaming, a sharp, crushing pressure behind my left eye. I need to go, I manage. Early shift tomorrow. I leave before either of them can respond. In the car, I sit in the dark for 10 minutes, not moving. Then I drive back to my empty apartment and cry until I can't breathe. 3 days before graduation. I'm lying on the floor of my apartment because standing feels impossible. Clara's voice crackles through the speakerphone. They're really skipping your graduation for a vacation? A vacation? I say weakly. It's for Rowena's engagement. Isolde, stop making excuses for them. I'm not making excuses, I whisper. I'm just accepting reality. That's worse. I stare up at the ceiling. There's a water stain shaped like a broken heart. Fitting. 4 years, Clara says quietly. 4 years you worked yourself half to death, and they can't postpone one trip. Apparently not. She goes silent for a moment, then her voice softens. How are you feeling physically? Clara asks gently. You sounded off on the phone yesterday. I'm fine, I say. Really, just tired. That night I wake up at 3 a.m. with the worst headache of my life. The pain is so sharp I actually whimper. I stumble into the bathroom. Blood. My nose is bleeding again, heavier this time. It won't stop. I sink down onto the cold tile floor, head tilted back, waiting. 15 minutes, 20. Eventually it slows. I stare at my reflection in the mirror. Dark circles, hollow cheeks. When did I start looking like a ghost? I should see a doctor, I think. But graduation is in 3 days, and I still have a speech to memorize. I text Clara. I'm fine, going back to sleep. Then I open my photos and scroll until I find one from last Christmas. Grandpa Edmund and me. He's the only one looking at the camera. The only one standing close enough to touch. I think about what Clara said earlier. If anything happens, call your grandpa. He's the only one who actually cares. I open my emergency contacts and add his name as my secondary contact, just in case. Then I swallow more ibuprofen and whisper to myself, 3 more days. I can survive 3 more days. If you've ever felt invisible to the people who were supposed to love you, comment invisible below. I see you. I was you. And if you want to know what really happened when I stepped onto that stage, stay with me. Because the next part is something I'll never forget for the rest of my life. One day before graduation, Grandpa Edmund calls while I'm practicing my speech for what feels like the 100th time. Isolde, are you ready for tomorrow? As ready as I'll ever be, I say, setting my index cards aside. Are you sure you can make it? I ask. I know the drive is long. He laughs softly. Wild horses couldn't keep me away. I'm leaving tonight and staying at a hotel near campus. I can hear the smile in his voice. I want to be there early, Grandpa says. My throat tightens. Grandpa, you don't have to. I want to, he replies gently. I need to give you something. He pauses. Something your grandmother wanted you to have. My breath catches. Your grandmother, he continues, left it for you before she passed. She made me promise to wait until you graduated college. She knew you'd make it, Isolde. Even before you were born, she knew. I don't know what to say, I whisper. What is it? You'll see tomorrow, he says. Just know this. Your grandmother and I have always believed in you. There's a hesitation in his voice. Even when what? I ask. A long silence. Even when others forgot, he says quietly. Then he asks, almost casually, Isolde, did your father ever tell you I offered to help with your tuition? What? I sit up straighter. No, he always said you couldn't afford to help both of us. Grandpa exhales, a sound somewhere between a sigh and a bitter laugh. Is that what he told you? Grandpa, what do you mean? Tomorrow, he says softly. We'll talk after the ceremony. For now, just remember this. You're not alone. You never were. When the call ends, I'm more confused than before. Grandpa had money. He offered to help with my tuition. So where did it go? The questions chase each other in circles, but my head is throbbing and there's no time to unravel any of it. Tomorrow is the biggest day of my life. I just have to make it through one more night. Graduation morning. I wake up with a pounding headache and a text from my mom. Just landed in Vienna. Have a great graduation, sweetie. So proud of you. There's a selfie attached. The entire family at Vienna International Airport. Rowena is pouting at the camera. My dad is giving a thumbs up. My mom is smiling like she doesn't have a care in the world, like she hasn't chosen a trip over her daughter on the most important day of her life. I don't respond. At 9 a.m., Clara pulls up to pick me up. She takes one look at me and frowns. Isolde, you're gray. Like, actually gray. I'm just nervous, I say. It's fine. It's not fine, Clara replies immediately. When was the last time you ate? I had coffee. That's not food. She shoves a granola bar into my hand and makes me eat while she drives. I manage maybe 3 bites before my stomach turns. The campus is already alive with noise and movement, families everywhere, balloons, bouquets, proud parents snapping photos. I try not to look. In the staging area, I check my phone one last time. Another text from my mom. Send pictures. We want to see everything. They want to see everything. They just didn't want to be there to see anything. I'm about to put my phone away when something catches my eye. My university emergency contact form. I filled it out freshman year and never touched it again. Primary contact, Rupert Fairchild, father. Secondary contact, Agatha Fairchild, mother. On impulse, I open the form online. I add a third line. Secondary contact, Edmund Fairchild, grandfather. I don't know why. It just feels right. Then I see him. Grandpa is already seated in the front row, already waiting. He lifts a hand and waves. In his other hand, I spot a manila envelope. I wave back. For the first time all week, I feel like I can breathe. Isolde Fairchild. A stage manager steps up beside me. You're on in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I can do this. I just have to stay standing long enough to get through it. 3,000 people. The sun beating down. My cap feels too tight. The black gown traps heat like a furnace. My name echoes through the speakers. And now, our valedictorian, Isolde Fairchild. Applause. A wall of sound. I walk toward the podium, one foot carefully in front of the other. The stage lights are blinding. I wrap my fingers around the microphone and scan the crowd. I find Grandpa Edmund right away, smiling, glowing. Clara is beside him, phone raised, recording. Next to them are 2 empty seats, reserved for family. No one ever sat in them. I clear my throat. Thank you all for being here today. I begin the speech I've practiced 1,000 times. I talk about effort, about resilience, about the people who believed in me when something is wrong. The stage tilts. My vision tightens, narrowing into a tunnel. The microphone slips in my hand. I hear my own voice, but it sounds distant, unfamiliar. Believed in me when I couldn't. Pain detonates behind my eyes, white hot, blinding. The world spins. I see Grandpa's face, confusion melting into horror. I see Clara jump to her feet. I see the 2 empty seats. And then, nothing. My body hits the stage with a sound I'll never forget. Somewhere far away, people are screaming. Call 911! Get a doctor! Someone call her family! Hands touch my face. Clara's voice is shaking. Isolde! Isolde, can you hear me? Grandpa's weathered hand closes around mine. I'm here, sweetheart. I'm here. I try to answer. I try to tell them I'm okay. But the darkness is already pulling me under. The last thing I hear before everything goes black is a stranger's urgent voice. We're calling her parents now. Does anyone have their number? They won't answer, I think. Then I'm gone. This part of the story isn't something I remember myself. Clara told me later, when I could finally stand to hear it. The ambulance took 14 minutes to arrive. I was unconscious the entire time. At St. Aldwyn Medical Center, doctors moved fast, a CT scan, then an MRI. With every result, their faces grew more serious. A brain tumor. The neurosurgeon explained it to Clara and Grandpa in the waiting room, pointing to the images, pressing on the area near my frontal lobe. We need to operate immediately. The word operate barely registers. Right now, the neurosurgeon says, within the hour. But we need consent from family. Clara's voice breaks as she pulls out my phone and dials my parents' number. First call, straight to voicemail. Second call, voicemail. Third, voicemail again. Please, Clara begs into the phone, panic shaking her voice. Isolde is in the hospital. It's an emergency. Please call us back. Nothing. Then Grandpa Edmund tries. He calls his son directly. Rupert picks up on the fifth ring. Dad, we're at the airport about to board, Rupert says. Is something wrong? Isolde collapsed at graduation, Grandpa says. She has a brain tumor. They're taking her into surgery in 40 minutes. Silence. Then Rupert's voice, oddly calm. Dad, we're about to take off. Can you handle things? We'll call when we land. Clara told me later that Grandpa's face turned to stone. Your daughter is about to have emergency brain surgery, he said slowly. And you're asking me to handle it? The flight is 12 hours, Rupert replied. By the time we get back, she'll be out of surgery anyway. There's nothing we can do from here. A long pause. Rupert, Grandpa said quietly, I want you to hear this clearly. If you get on that plane, don't bother calling me again. Rupert got on the plane anyway. They all did. With no one else to wait for, Grandpa Edmund signed the consent forms as my emergency contact. And when they wheeled me into surgery, I had exactly 2 people waiting for me, my grandfather and my best friend. My family was 30,000 feet in the air, choosing Vienna over me. I wake up 3 days later. The first thing I see is white. White ceiling, white walls, white sheets. The second thing I see is Grandpa asleep in a chair beside my bed, still wearing the suit he'd worn to my graduation. The third thing I see is Clara, curled up on a small cot in the corner, dark circles etched beneath her eyes. I try to speak. My throat feels like sandpaper. Clara stirs, opens her eyes, and freezes when she sees me. Isolde. She's at my bedside in seconds, tears spilling. Oh my God! Oh my God! Grandpa Edmund wakes with a start. His face collapses with relief. My girl, he whispers. My brave girl. I try to form words. What happened? Clara and Grandpa exchange a look, the kind that tells me something is very wrong. You had a brain tumor, Clara says carefully. They removed it. You're going to be okay. Surgery? My voice is barely there. 3 days ago, she says. You've been unconscious for 3 days. I turn my head and notice my phone charging on the nightstand. My parents? I ask. Another look. Clara hesitates, then hands me the phone. Maybe you should wait. But I'm already opening InstaLife. And there it is. Posted 18 hours ago. A photo of my entire family, my mom, my dad, Rowena, standing in front of St. Stephen's Cathedral in Vienna, bathed in sunset light. The caption reads, Family trip in Vienna. Finally, no stress, no drama. Hashtag blessed, hashtag family time, 247 likes, 32 comments, all glowing. I scroll, champagne at a cafe, Rowena in a couture dress, my dad smiling over a plate of pastries. Not one mention of me, not one. Isolde, Clara says gently. They know you're in the hospital. Grandpa called them. I look at Grandpa. His jaw is tight. They know, he confirms. I stare at the photo again. No stress, no drama. That's what I am to them. Stress, drama. I close the app. I don't cry. I don't have the energy left to cry. 4 days after surgery, I start getting stronger. The doctors tell me the tumor was benign. They caught it just in time. I don't post on social media. I don't comment on Rowena's photos. I don't call to confront my parents. I just exist and heal. Grandpa Edmund comes every single day. Clara practically moves into my hospital room. The nurses know them both by name. You need to eat more, Grandpa says one afternoon, pressing a container of soup into my hands. I'm not hungry. Isolde Eleanor Fairchild, he says firmly, you will eat this soup or I will spoon-feed you myself. I almost smile. Almost. That evening, Clara goes home to shower. Grandpa drifts off in his chair. For the first time since surgery, I'm alone with my thoughts. That's when my phone lights up. One missed call from my dad, then 5, then 20, then 65. My heart stutters. The texts start piling in. Dad. Isolde, call me back. Important. Dad. Answer your phone. Dad. We need to talk now. Dad. This is urgent. Call immediately. Then my mom. Honey, please call your father. Then Rowena. Isolde, what did you do? Dad is freaking out. I scroll through the screen. 65 missed calls. 23 messages. Not one asks how I'm feeling. Not one says I'm sorry. Not one says we love you. Just, we need you. Answer immediately. When Grandpa wakes, I show him my phone. His face hardens. They know, he says quietly. Know what? He takes a slow breath. Isolde, there's something I need to tell you. Something about why they're really calling. What do you mean? It's not because they're worried about you, he says heavily. It's because I told them about the gift, your grandmother's gift, and they just realized what they might lose. My blood turns cold. Grandpa, what gift? He looks at me with tired, sorrowful eyes. It's time you knew the truth. He pulls his chair closer and takes my hand. 22 years ago, when you were born, your grandmother and I made a decision. We opened an education savings account in your name. For college? I ask. Not exactly. Grandpa shakes his head. We assumed your parents would handle college. Or at least, that's what we told ourselves. This account was different, he continues. It was a graduation gift. Seed money for your future. My chest tightens. Your grandmother called it your freedom fund. How much? I ask. Grandpa hesitates. Enough to buy a small house, he says slowly, or start a business, or put a down payment on whatever life you wanted to build. My head spins. That's life-changing money. But Dad always told me you didn't have money to help with tuition, I say, that you could only help Rowena because she asked. Something dark passes over Grandpa's face. Your father asked me for money for both of your educations, he says, and I gave it to him. I wrote 2 checks, one for you, one for Rowena, same amount. My stomach drops. Then where did my money go? He exhales slowly. I don't know for certain, he says, but I can guess. He pulls out his phone and shows me a photo, a bank statement, 2 withdrawals, same date, 4 years ago. Your parents cashed both checks, he says. They used Rowena's portion for her tuition. And mine? I think of the remodeled kitchen, my mother's designer bags, the vacation fund that never seems to run dry. They spent it, I whisper. I believe so, Grandpa says quietly. And this freedom fund? They didn't know about it? I never told them, he says. Even back then, I knew they treated you differently. This money was always meant to bypass them entirely, go straight to you on your graduation day. My chest tightens again. But now they know. Yes, he says. I told your father while you were in surgery. I was angry. I told him if he didn't come home, I'd make sure you received everything. Grandpa sighs, rubbing his temple. I shouldn't have said it like that, but I was furious. That's when it all makes sense. That's why they're calling, I say softly. He nods. Not for you, he says. For the money. They arrive the next afternoon. I hear them before I see them, my mother's heels clicking sharply down the hospital corridor, her voice too loud. Which room? Fairchild. Isolde Fairchild. Clara rises from her chair. I should go. Please stay, I whisper. She nods and moves to stand by the window. The door swings open. My mom enters first, her face carefully arranged into perfect maternal concern. Isolde, sweetheart. We came as fast as we could. She leans down to hug me. I don't hug her back. You came as fast as you could, I repeat slowly. 5 days after I almost died. The flights were fully booked, she says quickly. Instalife shows you posted from the Louvre yesterday. Her expression flickers. We were just trying to make the best of a difficult situation. My dad steps in behind her. He looks exhausted. He won't meet my eyes. Then Rowena appears, shopping bags in hand. Actual shopping bags, carried straight into a hospital room. "Hey, Isolde," she says casually, not coming any closer. "You look better than I expected." Clara makes a sharp sound from the corner. I don't look at her, but I can feel her anger fill the room. "Rowena," I say calmly. "I had brain surgery." "I know," she replies lightly. "That's so crazy, right?" She sets her bags down. "Anyway, we cut the trip short, so you're welcome." The room goes silent. My mom clears her throat. "Isolde, sweetheart, we should talk. As a family." She glances pointedly at Clara. "Privately." "Clara stays," I say. "But Isolde—" "Clara was here when I woke up. Clara held my hand before surgery. Clara stays." My mom's lips thin, but before she can respond, the door opens again. Grandpa Edmund. The air in the room drops 10 degrees. My dad stiffens. "Dad," he mutters. "Rupert." Grandpa's voice is ice. "Agatha. Rowena." He walks straight to my bedside and takes my hand. "I see you finally found time in your schedule." My mom starts to speak. "Don't," Grandpa cuts her off. "Don't do that. If your family has ever come running back, not because they missed you, but because they needed something from you, drop, they came back in the comments." I know that feeling. I know how hollow it leaves you. Because what happened next in that hospital room, it changed everything. I'd been waiting my entire life to say what I was about to say. So stay with me. This is where it gets real. My dad tries first. "Can we talk about this rationally?" "Rationally?" Grandpa's voice is calm, which somehow makes it worse than yelling. "Your daughter collapsed on stage. She had a brain tumor. The hospital called you 47 times. We were on a plane," my dad says. "You weren't on a plane," Grandpa cuts in. "You were at the gate. I spoke to you, Rupert. You chose to board anyway." My mom steps forward. "Edmund, this is a family matter." "Isolde is family," Grandpa says. "She's my family. And for 22 years, I've watched you treat her like she barely exists." "That's not true," my mom snaps, her composure cracking. "We love Isolde." "You love what Isolde does for you," Grandpa replies. "There's a difference." He turns to my dad. "Tell me, Rupert, when is Isolde's birthday?" My dad blinks. "March. No, April." "October 15th, I say quietly. "It's October 15th, Dad." He finally looks ashamed. Grandpa doesn't stop. "What's her favorite book? What's her best friend's name? What job did she just accept after graduation?" Silence. Clara's jaw tightens. She knows every answer. She's known them for 4 years. Rowena rolls her eyes. "Grandpa, this is ridiculous. We didn't fly all the way back to play 20 questions." "No," Grandpa Edmund says. "You flew back because you heard about the money." The word hits the room like a bomb. My mother's face drains of color. "We came because Isolde was sick." "You came," Grandpa replies coldly, "because I told Rupert that Isolde would receive her inheritance directly, without you acting as intermediaries." His eyes harden. "Suddenly, after 4 years of ignoring her, you're deeply concerned about her well-being." "That inheritance belongs to the family," my mom snaps. "That inheritance belongs to Isolde," Grandpa says, his voice rising for the first time. "Her grandmother left it for her. Not for Rowena's destination wedding. Not for your kitchen renovation." My mom opens her mouth, then closes it. I watch the calculations flicker behind her eyes, and something inside me turns to ice. "You want the truth, Edmund?" she says suddenly, her voice shifting. "Fine. You want the truth?" My dad reaches for her arm. "Agatha!" She jerks away. "No. He wants to paint me as the villain. Let's do this properly." She turns to me. Her eyes are wet, but not with guilt. With something older. Something wounded. "You want to know why I've always kept my distance from you, Isolde?" she asks. Because every time I look at you, I see her. Who? I whisper. Beatrice. My mom spits the name like poison. Your precious grandmother. The woman who spent 30 years making me feel like I was never good enough for her son. Grandpa goes perfectly still. The first time I entered this family, my mom continues, Beatrice looked at me like I was dirt under her shoes. 26 years of cutting remarks. 26 years of Rupert, are you sure about this one? 26 years of never being enough. I can't speak. And then she died, my mom says, laughing bitterly. And I thought, finally, I'd be accepted. She looks at me. But then you were born, Isolde. And you looked exactly like her, my mom says, her voice breaking. The same eyes, the same stubborn chin, everything. That's not Isolde's fault, Clara snaps. I know, my mom shouts, then quieter, almost pleading. I know, but every time I looked at her, I saw Beatrice judging me. I just couldn't. She trails off and covers her face. I should feel sympathy. Part of me does, but another part of me is screaming. I was a baby. I was a child. I spent 22 years wondering why my own mother couldn't love me. And the answer is this. Because I had my grandmother's face. A woman I never even met. Mom, I say slowly. I'm not Grandma Beatrice. I know, she whispers. Do you? I ask. Because I've spent my entire life paying for something I didn't do. She doesn't answer. And that tells me everything. I push myself higher against the pillows. My body is weak, but my voice doesn't shake. Mom, I understand now, I say. You had a painful relationship with her. You felt judged. That hurt you. For a moment, hope flickers in her eyes. But that pain, I continue, was never my fault. The hope fades. For 22 years, I did everything right. Perfect grades, no trouble. I worked 3 jobs so you wouldn't have to pay for my education. I showed up to every family event. I helped with every party, every holiday, every crisis. Isolde. I'm not finished. My voice stays steady. I did all of that because I believed that if I tried hard enough, you would finally see me, finally love me the way you love Rowena. Rowena shifts uncomfortably. But I was wrong, I say quietly. Because you were never going to see me. You were always going to see her. I turn to my father. And you? I ask. You watched this happen for 22 years and said nothing. He flinches. Isolde, I didn't know how to. How to what? I interrupt. Stand up for your daughter, I say. Ask your wife why she flinches every time I walk into a room. It's complicated, my dad mutters. It's really not. I shake my head. You chose the path of least resistance, and that path meant sacrificing me. Grandpa Edmund squeezes my hand. I look at each of them in turn. My mom crying quietly, my dad staring at the floor, Rowena with her arms crossed, already defensive. I don't hate any of you, I say, but I can't keep pretending this is normal. I can't keep being the invisible one. What do you want? My dad asks softly. I take a breath. I want you to see me as a person, not a ghost, not a burden, not someone who exists to make your lives easier. I meet his eyes. And if you can't, then I'll mourn the family I wished I had, and I'll build a new one. The room goes still. I turn to Grandpa. I want to talk about Grandma's gift. He nods and pulls the manila envelope from his jacket, the same one he brought to graduation. This is yours, he says. Your grandmother set it aside 25 years ago. It's been earning interest ever since. I take the envelope. Don't open it, I say, looking at my parents. I know what you're thinking. You're wondering if I'll share it, if I'll cover Rowena's wedding, if I'll pay for your next renovation. My mom opens her mouth, then closes it. I'm not going to do that. Isolde, Rowena snaps, finally breaking her silence. That's selfish. Grandma wanted me to have it, I cut in. Not you, me. But we're family, she protests. Family. I almost laugh. You're using that word now, After you posted vacation photos from Vienna while I was in brain surgery? Rowena's face reddens. I didn't know it was that serious, Rowena says quietly. Because you didn't ask. She has no answer. I turn to my mom. I'm not taking this money to hurt you, I say. I'm taking it because it's mine. Because Grandma wanted me to have options. To never have to depend on people who treat me like an afterthought. What about us? My dad asks softly. Are we just supposed to lose you? You already did, I say. My voice softens, just a little. Years ago, when you stopped showing up, when you stopped asking how I was, when you let me become invisible. I take a breath. But I'm not slamming the door shut. They all look up. If you want to be in my life, really in my life, you have to earn it. You have to see me as Isolde, not as Beatrice's ghost, not as Rowena's backup plan, just me. And if we try? My mom asks, her voice barely above a whisper. Then we start slowly, I say, with boundaries. What kind of boundaries? I meet her eyes. I'll tell you when I'm ready. Rowena moves first. She grabs her shopping bags, her face tight with anger. This is insane! You're tearing this family apart over money. This isn't about money, I say calmly. Really? Because it sounds like I nearly died, I interrupt. And you went shopping. She freezes. I'm not saying that to make you feel guilty, I continue. I'm saying it because you need to hear it. You need to understand what it felt like to wake up in a hospital bed and see my family smiling in photos from Vienna. Her lower lip trembles. For a split second, something cracks behind her eyes, then she turns and walks out. The door clicks shut. My mom is crying now, real tears, the kind you can't fake. I'm sorry, she whispers. I'm so sorry, Isolde. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I know, I say gently, but I don't know how to fix it. Neither do I admit. Not yet, I pause. But if you truly want to try, you need help. Talk to someone, I say quietly. A therapist. Work through whatever Beatrice made you feel, so you stop projecting it onto me. My mom nods, wipes her eyes, and leaves without another word. Now it's just me, Dad, Grandpa Edmund, and Clara. My dad lowers himself into the chair beside my bed, like the weight finally caught up to him. Isolde, he says softly. I failed you. He swallows. Yes, I should have protected you. I told myself you were strong, that you didn't need me. But that was just an excuse. He looks at me then, really looks at me. Maybe for the first time. I can't undo 22 years, he says. But can I try to do better? I study his face. The regret there feels real. Call me next week, I say. Actually ask how I'm doing. And listen to the answer. He nods, stands, and squeezes my hand once. I will. Then he's gone too. 2 weeks later, I'm discharged from the hospital with a clean bill of health. The tumor is gone. The doctors call it a miracle. I call it a second chance. I don't move back home. I use a small portion of my grandmother's gift to rent a tiny apartment near the school where I'll be teaching in the fall. It's nothing special. 1 bedroom, a kitchenette, a single window that looks out over a parking lot. But it's mine. The fallout is immediate. Rowena blocks me on every social media platform. Her new bio reads, "Some people don't appreciate family." I screenshot it and send it to Clara. She replies with a string of middle finger emojis. 2 days later, Clara calls, barely containing her excitement. You are not going to believe this. What? Julian, Rowena's fiancé, heard the whole story. His mom heard it through the hospital grapevine, she says, practically vibrating. He's reconsidering the engagement. I don't feel victorious, just exhausted. That's not what I wanted, I say. I know, Clara replies, but still. A week after that, I notice the engagement party photos disappear from Facebook. Then the announcement itself vanishes. My mom texts me. Rowena is devastated. I hope you're happy. I stare at the message for a long moment, then type back. I'm not happy about her pain, but I'm not responsible for it either. She doesn't reply. To his credit, my dad calls the following Tuesday, right when he said he would. Hi, Isolde. Hi, Dad. How are you feeling? Better, I say. Still tired, but better. There's a pause. What did you have for dinner last night? I almost smile. Such a small question, one he's never asked before. Pasta, I say. With Clara. That sounds nice? It's awkward, stilted, but it's something. For now, it's enough. 3 months later, I'm standing in my new classroom arranging desks. 8th grade English. 26 students starting Monday. Clara helps me hang posters, or rather, critiques my poster placement while eating my chips. A little to the left, she says, mouthful. No, your left. I don't know why I keep you around. Because I'm delightful, she says, grinning. And you love me. I can't argue with that. The room is starting to feel like mine. Thrift store bookshelves, a reading corner with mismatched pillows, a bulletin board that reads, Every voice matters. My phone buzzes. Grandpa Edmund, how's the setup going? Almost done. Dinner Sunday? Wouldn't miss it. I can hear his smile through the phone. Your grandmother would be so proud, he says. Building your own classroom, your own life. My eyes sting. I wish I'd known her. You would have loved each other, he says, then pauses. Actually, I found something while cleaning out the attic. A letter she wrote before she passed, addressed to my future granddaughter. My grip tightens on the phone. What? She wrote it 25 years ago, before your mother was even pregnant. She just knew. What does it say? That's for you to find out, he says gently. I'll bring it Sunday. After we hang up, I sink into my teacher's chair, the one I'll use every day this school year. Clara drops into a student desk. You okay? She wrote me a letter, I say softly, before I was born. Clara's eyes widen. That's kind of incredible. Yeah. I look around the classroom, at the life I'm building from the ground up. It's finally mine. The sun is setting, casting golden light through the windows. For the first time in months, maybe years, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. 1 month later, there's a knock on my apartment door. Sunday afternoon. I open it to find my father standing there holding a cardboard box. Hi, Isolde. I blink. Dad, I wasn't expecting you. I know, I should have called. He shifts the box in his arms. Can I come in? I step aside. My apartment is small, but it's mine now. Plants on the windowsill, photos on the shelf, Clara at graduation, Grandpa and me at dinner, my students' artwork from the first week of school. Dad looks around quietly. You've made this nice. Thanks. He sets the box on the table. I brought you something. Inside are photo albums, old books, and a hand-embroidered handkerchief with delicate flowers stitched along the edge. Grandma Beatrice's things, I whisper. Your mother was going to throw them out, he says, not meeting my eyes. I couldn't let that happen. I lift the handkerchief, running my fingers over the stitching. I know I can't undo 22 years, he says. I know I failed you in ways that can't be fixed. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm just asking for a chance to do better. I think about the empty seats, the silence. Then I think about the Tuesday calls. Awkward, clumsy, but consistent. Okay, I say finally. You can try, I pause. But trying means showing up, not just when it's convenient. He nods, swallowing hard. I understand. Do you want coffee? He almost smiles. I'd like that. 6 months after graduation, I'm sitting in my classroom after the last bell. 26 desks. 26 kids who will walk back in tomorrow expecting me to help them find their voices. There's a knock at the door. Miss Fairchild? It's Marcus, 13, quiet, always in the back row. Can I ask you something? Of course. He hesitates. Did you ever feel like no one really saw you? My chest tightens. Yes, I say honestly. For a long time, I felt exactly like that. What did you do? I think carefully before answering. I found people who did see me, my grandfather, my best friend. Then I tapped my chest, and eventually, I learned to see myself. He nods slowly. Thanks, Miss Fairchild. After he leaves, I stay at my desk a little longer. On my phone is a photo Grandpa found in that box. A picture of me as a baby, held in my grandmother's arms. She's smiling down at me like I'm the most important thing in the world. I used to think love was something you earned, something you worked for, something you sacrificed yourself to deserve. I know better now. Love is who shows up. Love is who stays. A year after graduation, my sister calls. Her engagement is over. The debt is real. The loneliness is louder than she expected. I listen, I empathize, but I don't fix it for her. That's not my role anymore. 2 years after graduation, I'm sitting in a crowded auditorium beside Clara, waiting for Grandpa Edmund to take the stage. The banner behind him reads, Community Educator of the Year. When he finds me in the audience, he smiles. I want to dedicate this award to my granddaughter, Isolde, he says. 2 years ago, I watched her collapse on stage. She nearly died. And she woke up to find that the people who should have been there weren't. The room is silent. But she didn't become bitter, he continues. She chose to build a life filled with people who love her for who she is, not what she can do for them. I'm crying. Clara is crying. He lifts the award toward me. This belongs to you, sweetheart, for having the courage to choose yourself. After the ceremony, I hug him so tightly I don't want to let go. I love you, I whisper. I know, he says. Your grandmother would be so proud. My family is still complicated. My dad calls every Tuesday. My mom sends careful cards on holidays. My sister is in therapy. We text sometimes. But my real family? They're the ones who showed up. They're the ones who stayed. And finally, me. I used to wonder why my mother couldn't love me. Why I had to work twice as hard for half the recognition. Why I felt invisible in my own family. Now I understand. My mother wasn't evil. She was wounded. She never healed from her own pain, and she let it spill onto me. And me? My weakness was believing that if I tried harder, if I sacrificed more, I'd finally be enough. That's called people-pleasing. It kept me safe when I was small. As an adult, it nearly destroyed me. The brain tumor was the most terrifying thing that ever happened to me. But in a strange way, it was also a gift. It forced me to see my family clearly. It gave me permission to stop performing for people who weren't watching. So here's what I learned, and I hope you carry it with you. You cannot earn love from people who aren't willing to give it. Stop setting yourself on fire to keep others warm, especially when they won't even look at the flame. Your real family isn't determined by blood. It's determined by who shows up when life gets hard. And finally, you are allowed to choose yourself. That isn't selfish. That's survival. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever felt invisible in your own family, or learned the hard way that love shouldn't cost you your well-being, I'd love to hear your story. Leave a comment below. I read every single one. And if you want to hear more stories like this, stories about boundaries, healing, and choosing yourself, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. There's another story waiting for you in the description. Something tells me it might hit close to home. If you're the invisible one, the forgotten one, the one who gives and gives and never receives, I see you. And I hope you learn, like I did, that the only approval you truly need is your own. Thank you for staying with me until the end.